So like it's 2018. You feel me? We've seen Black Panther and the whole like Ankara movement,
Yes.
and it's like a whole trajectory now.
Yeah.
Everybody, even like this Essence Festival was this weekend. I've seen a lot of celebrities donning Ankara. But you have some strong opinions about
Yeah.
Ankara.
Yeah.
First of all, you tripping.
I'm tripping. Also, you foreign
I'm
girl.
for Ankara all the way.
So he tricked me this whole time. I thought we were
Okay,
gonna
okay, okay.
fight.
What are your opinions on Ankara though?
All right, it's a mixed opinion, so I'm a go boom 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 boom. One is Ankara is not even African. That's number one. Number two is though I love the fact that how even though it was not even meant to be marketed towards us, it was literally by force because they understood, and they meaning like the Dutch understood that they could not sell it to the Europeans. But when they saw the market opening up in Africa, they were like, wait a minute, the Africans they're really feeling this. It works for them. So they were like, you know what? Before we go out of business, that's really like the mood. Before we go out of business, like let's go here. This is where the market is. And then it became so loved in Africa. So it's beautiful at the same time because it has become so much of our a part of our culture and history. Here's where I have a problem with it is that for some reason it has been the one fabric to define all of Africa. It has been deemed the African fabric. And it's like, how could we say one fabric that is not even, that didn't even originate from Africa be the thing that defines all of African fashion? You know, that's where I have a problem with it. And then on top of it, I feel like another issue that I have is because it's getting hot, I feel like it's like a fad. Like it's it's like the trendy thing. Exactly. I mean, this isn't the first time Ankara was hot. Ankara was hot a while back ago. Now it came back, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's very dangerous when we use something mainstream to define a beautiful continent like Africa, which is not mainstream. Africa is not temporary. So it's kind of sucks to use something that can be so fleeting to describe something.
As a fashion designer
not.
yourself, how can say influence the narrative and say, hey, like let's slow it down, or how can we make sure it doesn't we don't get too consumed with it?
I think people are so in love with the idea of Africa. That's why you see Ankara being used in Black Panther to represent, something of Africa. In essence,
a lot of
we're
galas
talking
now.
about right, like we're talking about to celebrate that. I think what's we need to like broaden our idea of what Africa can be. Like my thing is like let's think about what Africa can be future tense. I feel like Ankara is now. Will it still be here? As high? It's something that comes back and goes and comes back and goes. So the way that we can change that is really there are so many designers that I admire from the continent who that is not their thing at all. You know what I'm saying?
Like yourself, for example.
Right. And it's like to be honest, I feel like the stories that they're telling through their art is so much more stronger and authentically theirs than Ankara designers. I don't know, like I don't want to bash Ankara designers because I feel like Ankara is a beautiful fabric. Again, it has become so much of our culture, but I feel like it stops at some point. It doesn't go past something. I don't know. I feel like it's like that.
Because you create from scratch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've seen your videos of you
Yeah.
actually in the trenches creating from scratch. You
Yeah.
ever had that? You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, this is where the bag is at. Let me go there.
Yes, I have. And I feel like even a couple of my friends who are African designers like have felt that yes, like Ankara is mainstream now, that's where the money is. But again, there goes that authenticity thing. Like I could wake up and be another Ankara designer. And I mean, I could be like one of my favorite designers, Lisa Folu. Her last name is crazy to me, but it's beautiful, but it's hard to pronounce. She took Ankara and then literally made it something else. I could do that, but even she has moved away from it. I think it's this what does Ankara mean to us? You know what I'm saying? And then taking out that meaning and then playing off of that. Like she's a beautiful designer to me because I feel like regardless, Ankara is popular in Africa because we love prints. So how about we go with that story? We've literally made prints from scratch. Why is it this one fabric that like we keep using that isn't even really durable? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
How is Nyorh Agwe an alternative to Ankara?
Because It's not mainstream Africa. It's not even mainstream Africa. It's not mainstream Cameroon, because I'm not telling Africa's story. It can end up relating to a lot of different places in Africa and abroad, but I'm not using one thing to define all of it. You know what I'm saying? Even in Cameroon, I have to also be careful, because there are so many different cultures and so many different traditions in Cameroon itself. So that's the alternative. It's like, when you're shopping me or designers like me, I feel like you're investing in the Africa that is now the true Africa, behind the mainstream, just the blah blah Africa. Like, if you really want to get to know Africa, like, that's what you'd be pushing for. It's like the dashikis. It's like, I feel like that's the front. Like, oh, I know Africa. I'm the brother. I'm gonna get a dashiki. It's like, that's the front that you put on to want to connect to Africa. If you really want to connect to Africa, you would invest in products and stories and brands that really are like how you see the video. You can see where it starts and where it ends, and why it's like this, and where's the tradition and who made it and things like that. I feel like that's more so, than just slapping on a fabric and calling it a day.
Yo, Agwe.
Yeah.